Welcome back to another segment of Geek Corner, part of the Coach Steve Show podcast. This one is solo because it's going to be about Antman and the Wasp Quantumania spoiler-free review. Logan will be joining on the next one to give our spoiler review, to give people time to go see the movie, because I got to see the movie Thursday evening, as Logan did as well, to give people time to go see it before we post anything about being a spoiler review. So this will be Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania spoiler-free review, the best that I can. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button for the Coach Steve Show, and go to the playlist where there is the Geek Corner segment where me and Logan discuss everything in movies, mainly Marvel related, but there will be a couple other things, but he'll be back. So got to see Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania Thursday evening. I recorded this later because we needed time to have things settle in and think about it. And start off by saying that the Rotten Tomatoes score is ridiculous. It does not need to be rated that low. Paul Rudd is a great actor and just brings a lot of life to the show, brings a lot of funniness to it. And Jonathan Majors is a phenomenal actor in his role as Kang in this movie. So that Rotten Tomatoes score does not sit well with a lot of people, and especially me. But let's talk about the movie the best I can. It's a big sci-fi movie where there's going to be a lot of CGI effects for sure. There's a lot of flashing lights, there's I'm going to be all over the place with this to get my thoughts right. There's a lot of CGI effects. It's a lot of sci-fi parts. It's not your typical Marvel / Ant-Man movie. Now, that's one thing going into the movie. You have to know that it's an Ant-Man movie. And, you know, he's the main character. We already know who the characters that were coming. We know Kang was being introduced. He's in the quantum realm. How did he get there? You know, all that stuff is answered. Jonathan Majors, he blows it out of the water. He, hits a home run. This is a great cast for Kang the Conqueror. Kills it every single time he's on screen. It's a fun movie. It's not one of the best Marvel movies that you're going to see, but again, it does not, relate to the review from Rotten Tomatoes. You see the fan score is much higher. Now, I enjoyed this movie. You get to sit there and enjoy the humor in it. You get to sit there and there is action. There's weird things that happen, but that's because I told you it's sci-fi-ish genre type of movie for Marvel. So it's another risk they're taking. We've seen it in the shows they've been making. We've seen it in a couple how they ended some shows, taking those risks, especially in She-Hulk at the end. They took this big leap of faith, and they're taking this leap of faith with this movie as well, being a sci-fi, different genre. There's a genre of movie out there that is very famous that you might have seen on a report, but I'm not going to say it. Just when you see the movie, you will know, like, hey, this looks like, this big time franchise type of movie, and that's all I'll say about that. The action scenes are good. It's a movie where you do have to pay attention a little bit because you're sitting there waiting to see things related to any type of Loki season 1 because of He Who Remains, who was a Kang variant. And so you're kind of on edge listening for that. But it's a movie where you don't have to necessarily turn your whole brain off. Like Doctor Strange, we were all like glued to it. Your brain's cranking because of all the theories and everything. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, there really was no wheel spinning the whole time. There was no waiting for this. You were more of trying to find information, and so you could just sit back, relax, and get that information. Does not mean that it's not without its plot holes. I kind of compare it to a lot of Phase 4 Marvel movies. This starts Phase 5, but Phase 4, a lot of the movies were almost go, 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 where you have a couple moments where to relax. This movie is the same, where it feels like it's go, go, go. Like it doesn't, you kind of get a backstory to something, which I'm not going to, disrupt, but it is a go, go, go type of movie. Not quite like a Doctor Strange, like pedal to the metal, but it gets right to the point. And so you be ready for things to get right to the point. And that's been kind of the movie part of Phase 4, in my opinion. And that's what happens with Antman and Quantumania. There is 2 end credit scenes. You get one right after the first one, where it says, Marvel, introduces Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. You get a end credit scene, which is very important to pay attention to. Then you get one at the very, very, very end, which takes forever to get to. It's an important one too. This movie, I feel like, though, it's a fun movie. You're probably gonna rank it 6, 7, or 8 out of 10. And the reason why I say 6 is because it's not gonna live up to people's expectations of what it is. One of the frustrating parts is I feel like it's a movie that is going to mean important things later on, just like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where it's going to matter much later. And as impatient as a lot of us Marvel fans are, and myself, I feel like that's what this movie is going to be. Is it's setting up, especially the end credit scenes, it's setting up, and it's going to matter later. You'll see what I mean at the end when you get there. And I also find the interaction of, I understand why they introduced Kang in the quantum realm, which you guys will see. And the story part of it makes sense. The dynamic, I thought, between Kang and Paul Rudd's character and Ant-Man, and Scott Lang, I drew a blank there. I mean, it's good. The actors are great. It's cool to see that. But one thing that you notice is, like, Scott Lang can be serious, but he still has that goofy side, that funny side. He's very smart, but he does have that, part to him where things are serious, but he'll find a way to humor it. And that's just Paul Rudd. And that's what I love about it. It's just kind of weird to see Kang be introduced with Ant-Man. You would maybe want to see him introduced with a different character that's 100% serious. But I think going through with this movie is maybe that's what they wanted. They wanted a good portion of seriousness, because every time Jonathan Majors was on the screen, everything was 100% serious. He is Kang. You get a cool scene, about him. And I think that's maybe part of the plot hole that I don't want to give too much away. You'll see the interactions is cool because they're both great actors. Paul Rudd obviously is one of the best actors. But if you notice, you'll notice maybe what I'm saying is that interaction with them, and maybe I'm wrong, looking too much into it. And this is one of those where I need the spoiler part with Logan to really talk this through. But that's probably one of the things you're going to see is the interaction between those two. Is this the right character to set this up with? I need to stew on it a little more. Should have been, a much more serious one. Should have been in Doctor Strange or anything else. But it's a fun movie, and it's a good way to start us off. It looks great. The CGI effects looks great. The sci-fi parts is cool. It's a different route that Marvel's taking. The interactions with all the actors and the characters on the screen were great. There's still other plot holes to be talked about, but we can't get there till it's a spoiler one. But it's a fun movie. So if you haven't seen it, please go see it. Don't look at the reviews or the ratings and say, oh my gosh, like, we're not going to see it because they rated at 48%. No, it's still a good movie. It's not one of Marvel's best, obviously. It's an Ant-Man movie. So you compare it to all the other Ant-Mans. It's going to be just like that with a bunch of other things. It has some serious moments. It has great fight scenes. It has touching moments, everything, that you're looking for. It's not one of their best. We don't need these home run movies all the time. I do think it does. I think the most annoying part is we have to wait a little bit longer to kind of see where this gets set up. The end credit scene really kind of sets that stuff up from what happened and, kind of what we're seeing in the future. Especially now because Marvel has announced that they're not going to make as many TV shows. So they're going to try to cram this into the movies or change some storylines, I'm sure. And so it's going to mean a lot more, not all the saturated down with all the TV shows, which I'm kind of on board with, as long as we still get the Daredevil. We're still getting Loki. We're still getting Secret Invasion. As long as we still get Daredevil and all that, I think we'll be okay. But good movie. I recommend people go see, and that's as much spoiler free that I can get. again, it sets up probably stuff later on in the future. It don't all the spoiler parts you read, don't read them because you might, well, I didn't until after and realize like I don't even know how they got some of these, thoughts of what could be in this movie, like we did with Doctor Strange. Everything made sense. All this stuff doesn't make sense. You'll see what I mean. But good movie. Recommend you guys go see it. It does set up a lot for Marvel. It kicks off Phase 5. And then soon, we're going to have Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We're going to have Loki Season 2. We're going to have Secret Invasion. So a lot of things are starting to get here quickly. Again, Logan will be back for our spoiler review when we record that. We'll let people time to see and let us stew on it a little bit. But I'll wrap up the spoiler-free review for Antman and the Wasp Quantumania. Go see it. Like and subscribe to the Coach Steve Show YouTube channel. This has been another segment, Geek Corner for the Coach Steve Show. When you subscribe on YouTube, there's a playlist for all the Geek Corner segments. Thank you guys again for watching and or listening, and we will see you guys next time.